Welcome back to ITC 2019 in Las Vegas. And who am I speaking with?
Hi, my name is Simha Sadasiva, founder and CEO of Ushur.
And what is Ushur?
Ushur is an intelligent automation platform. So broadly speaking, we apply artificial intelligence for driving customer conversations and a broad set of conversational experiences with various different stakeholders for enterprises in general. And we also apply the same AI engine for conducting back office work and streamlining most of the work that ends up being touched through human operators today. We automate those journeys without any human operator getting involved.
Okay. So can you give me an example of how
so
how it
for
would be implemented?
insurance companies, for example, we enable what we call straight-through processing for claims, which means when a claimant has a need to interact with the insurance company, they start these conversational experiences through either an email or through a text message, and then it's completely automated from that point and on. So they can basically ask what they're looking for, and then if the insurance company needs information from them to process a claim, it's a conversational experience that enables the claimant to provide specific pieces of information, all done through a conversational experience, and collects the information, brings it back into the claim systems automatically, and completes the entire claim journey end to end.
Yeah. So explain for carriers or potential partners that would be interested in that sort of technology. What's the implementation like? What's the onboarding like in order to get this up and running?
Yeah, so there are two fundamental ways we work with. The first one is what we call structured interactions, which is pre-known in terms of the types of questions that you want to ask or the types of information that you want to collect.
Like who are you?
Yeah.
What's your address?
You don't need a lot of AI and machine learning to discern intent and meaning of information that the customer is trying to convey. Those types of experiences are very quick. You can do it in a couple of days. You can put a conversational experience rather rapidly and plug it into your backend systems using APIs that we provide. And if there are standard platforms like Salesforce, there's an app that runs within Salesforce, so you don't even have to plug that in. So it's a bolt-on capability right off the bat. Where there is AI and machine learning that has a dependency on the data that the carriers have to provide. So we bring in concepts such as transfer learning, where you're not starting at ground zero. You have some pre-built models where our machine learning models are already pre-trained with insurance-specific terms, and we call it as a corpus. So they start with an insurance corpus, and on top of it, bring your data, bring the customer data or the carrier data, and then overlay that. And so we can drive those types of implementations in a month or two.
Yeah. When you use words like corpus, it's very macabre when it comes to insurance.
That's right. So there's a lot of education before we sell. So we take a very consultative approach to enabling customers to learn about what's possible, what is not possible, because AI, there's so much jargon about AI today.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is where is this going? In my experience with AI, I've seen a lot of promise. I've seen some good things. For the most part, though, I feel like it still has a long ways to go. Are we just scratching the surface? Do you think there's going to be still a very large evolutionary curve when it comes to AI?
It's always a significant ramp, right? I mean, with any new technology that comes along the way. But I think it's super exciting and promising where we are today, because we are applying some of the techniques that were previously applied in the world of computer vision, for example. So the ability to recognize images. How does your camera know that it needs to draw a box around your face? Because it's been trained with what a face looks like, right? So that's the earliest forms of AI. Now we are bringing some of those learnings, so this whole transfer learning, to the world of linguistics or text, as we know, right? So that leads to a lot of different applications of the technology. So when I say AI, it may mean something completely different, for someone else listening. So when I say AI, what I am referring to is our application of machine learning techniques for the purpose of understanding text or information sources that can be textual in nature. Like that text can be a conversation between two people in the form of a text message or an email or a voice conversation. That text can be information that is there in a document, right? It can be an image or a PDF that has textual information. So these are all various different sources of textual information. The ability to discern, understand information that is buried in that text is what we are really focusing on. And so the promise of the technology is today we can extract unstructured information that has also structured data mixed up, right? So we can sift the specific names of customers, policy numbers, dates of birth without any human touching it, if it's information that's there in a document or an email that comes in. The next level of the deep learning applications of this is where we can apply this to underwriting processes, for example. And this is hard stuff, and we are still at an early stage of the evolution, and we are trying to perfect this art. So, for example, our platform now can understand 30,000 various different types of diseases. So, when you have to underwrite a life insurance policy, for example, we know what applications have inherently risks buried in it based on the physician summary or based on the blood report that came from, or the lab report that came in. So that enables us to drive what we call decision assist for the underwriter. Not necessarily replace underwriting journey completely, but help augment that experience. So instead of the underwriter looking at a 50-page summary, we can actually bubble up or create these maps or heat maps of inherent risk factors that is there in a application. So it's promising. I'm pretty excited about what we can do with this technology.
I think that's an important part. The important message is that AI doesn't necessarily have to replace jobs.
No, I think it's a very microscopic view for people who think that by applying these automation techniques, you can eliminate jobs. That's not what we are trying to do. The human cognition and the human intelligence is grossly underrated. So we can enable, specific things that are better for machines to do rather than us doing those repetitive things. It's less prone for error, and you don't get bored doing things, and you can also drive efficiencies, and you apply human cognition for more important activities. So that's the view we fundamentally take.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Human intelligence is grossly underestimated.
Yeah.
So I think it's extremely valuable, because I think your example of the underwriter with a 50-page report, the underwriter has more valuable things to do.
Yeah.
And reading a 50-page report is tedious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot maintain your focus for that long a time, but a machine can.
Absolutely.
And so it's really a message about keeping up with the technology and allowing the technology to be a tool and not necessarily a replacement.
Yeah, and we also see this for what we call intake journeys, right? So different brokers will send information in different formats, right? Even though they need to send the same set of information. So there's a intake team that is just sifting through Excel spreadsheets, looking for information. And so these are simple tasks that are better suited for machines. So rather than you collating that information, an AI program can actually do a fairly good job of extracting that data and bringing it back into your intake systems of records. And so those are the types of use cases that we go after.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful message, and thank you for coming on and answering a few questions. I think there are a lot of folks that are eager about AI, but they want to disrupt. And I think your message is more about compatibility and complementing what's going on.
Absolutely.
So you are now, as a parting gift, you are now officially an insurance nerd. So wear it proudly. And thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Great talking to you.